Our next app is aiming to make your life both easier and also more adventurous. So we live in a city, New York, that is full of interesting and wonderful things, or Chicago. But unfortunately, we have to use the subway to get to them. And
Uh-oh.
not that fun, right? Especially when you have to transfer, right? So On My Line is an app that helps us explore awesome places within the city with near the train we're already taking, which is great. So the best thing too is that it works offline because you're underground, right? So I'll let the team of engineers take it away and tell you more about it.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Julia Jaspers, and I'm joined by Ko-Hsin, Leah, Gerald, and Saitta. We are the team behind On My Line. New Yorkers know that some neighborhoods are hard to access depending on which train they live off of. On My Line, or let's say you want to try something new, but you don't want to waste time transferring trains. On My Line shows you restaurants, museums, and events all relative to your line. You can add a second line to connect with friends who live off of different trains. You can also save your favorite spots and text a friend the spots that you found. On My Line is a progressive web app made with React, Redux, D3, Express, and Firebase. On My Line has offline capabilities thanks to service workers and Firebase. We chose Firebase to store our users' data because of its fast lookup times. Now, Koshin's going to talk a little bit about D3 and visualizations.
Thank you, Julia. In our app, we use D3GL to visualize New York City boroughs and street maps and subway lines. D3 takes in GeoJSON and TopoJSON datasets to represent geographic features in JavaScript. We also use D3 transition interface to animate changes to the DOM for implementing our clickable and zoomable functionality. One of our biggest challenges was to integrate D3 with React when both of them are trying to control the DOM. To overcome this challenge, we use the ref attribute provided by React to access the real DOM underlying the virtual DOM, which get React to hand over the control. We use React for structure, D3 for data calculation, and carefully use both of them for data controlling and rendering. I'm going to pass it off to Sierra to discuss our data flow.
Thanks, Ko-Hsin. To build the main functionality of our app, we used a number of web APIs. For the results on the map, we used Yelp, Meetup.com, and Google Places. When a user selects a station, the coordinates for that station are passed through a Redux thunk to our Express router. This then makes the API call and sends the data back to our React components to render. Some APIs, like Google Places, require more than one call in order to get all the detailed information we needed, like images. One of the greatest challenges we had to overcome was dealing with these asynchronous calls in addition to the fast loading times that users expect. We use short delay functions so that users wouldn't have to be disrupted when they clicked. We also loaded all of these detailed data at the same time that we rendered them on the map so that they only had to wait at one loading screen. Now Leah is going to talk to you about how we made this data available offline.
Thanks, Sierra. When you're out and about or on the subway, good service can be hard to find. As On My Line is a progressive web app, we utilize service workers to ensure that you can still use On My Line when you're offline. They act as a client-side proxy server between the app and the network, allowing us to control when we use the network within the app. So, when you initially make a request for a line, the service worker intercepts that request and stores the response in the cache. Thereafter, anytime you visit the stop, anytime you visit your line, it will come from the cache, not from the network. But a service worker's job is never done. Anytime you visit another stop, the service worker will also intercept that request and store it in the cache as well. So, say you're underground and, as per usual, you don't have good service. But you've changed your mind about where you'd like to eat for dinner. Not to worry, all of your previously visited stops and your line are always available offline in the cache. Thank you so much for listening. We had a lot of fun making this app and using it. So if you'd like to try it out, we invite you to check out our link. Or if you want to see our code, you can check out our code base on GitHub.
Very nicely done. I think the ambitious is how I would describe a a offline app for the subway because it's very spotty down there. But I love the idea too. It's like I won't go to any restaurant that's not on the red line, and I think my friends just know that. So this totally makes sense that I'll hang out
I
with
need
you.
this in my life.
Yeah, and it makes it easier for us when we look for full stack campus space.
Yeah.
We want David to be there.
That's how my wife and I met. I said,
available.
I'll date anyone who lives on the 72nd Street station. So, all right, very cool. I like the progressive web app. I think it's well done, and it's cool that they're using so many different APIs in the progressive, caching those like Meetup and Yelp there as well.
It's very impressive.